Greetings, humans. I'm Andre, and I'm George, and this is Couscous. And welcome back to the Windmill Flow Corpses. You were checking if you had your mic on? Yes. Right. So, Dianne is back with song number 7, The Quietude. And it's really funny for me whenever bands use like quiet or silence in the title because I'm like, you're making sounds. But at least here I think it's more appropriate because it's the one song that I don't think will have any metal in it. I think it's actually very appropriate because in a world where the noise will never stop, a meaningful song can actually silence out the noise. Yeah. And it's featuring Elena Vink, and I have no idea who that is. Elena Vink is Dianne's teacher, if I got this right. My brain actually kind of filled that in that it might be the case because there's a photo of them looking at each other and she looks, more mature and older. And I thought it just had that vibe. It was just a thought that my mind filled it. Yeah, and I think this is, if I read right, because there's been a lot of information and I haven't been keeping track of it, I think this is going to be Elena's last performance of her career. And the song concept is a sort of me, myself, and I thing, where like past Dianne and future Dianne are talking to current Dianne, and Elena represents older Dianne, and there's also a child in the video. Okay, well, that's a lot of spoilers, so we'll see. Are you ready? No. That's from the end of the previous song.
Mist of time, console me, your breath beneath
was certain that's how it was gonna end.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you see her fall and become unconscious, and then she like dives into this dream, right?
Yeah.
And it's a bit like when Frodo is in the tunnel followed by the spider, by Shelob, and he just sees Galadriel, right? Like something in your memory that comes to beckon you forward. Yeah, except here you're the Galadriel. Hey, Galadriel needs a Galadriel too. We all need a Galadriel.
Yeah.
And that's why you actually don't want to be Galadriel. If you're Galadriel, you don't get to have Galadriel. Yeah, you do. Her name is Elena Vink. Fair enough. There was always another Galadriel. There's always generational Galadrielicism.
I hate that you said. I love that you said that, but I also hate that you said that. That shouldn't make any sense.
Art deserves respect, so we're gonna stop this and we're gonna talk about the song. It feels like one of these moments where you see sometimes in movies in a high action scene that the noise just gets blurred out. What I said in the intro, essentially, and then there's this like moment where like something clicks to somebody, and they can make the right decision moving forward, right? Which essentially, I think the previous song, Phantom of War, was about being trapped in someone else's war, and this is like, okay, this is how I left, right? And I think it's this. There was this line, "A new day here begins." Okay, and I don't know if you saw, there was in the white scenes, there was the axe on the bottom, but it was white. And then it flashed to the next scene, and there was the axe at her knees when she wakes up, and she leaves it behind and leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you've been faced with this war, and it tempts you to turn evil, sort of. And it's like, we leave this behind.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not actually chronologically the next thing after Phantom of War. It happens at the same time, but Phantom of War is the external, getting caught in the war, fighting your way out, and the Quietude is the internal. Of like, when there's all this war around me, this is what I hold within to not get sucked into that. And that's a very good way to put it. It's not just to not get sucked into that, it's you've already been sucked into that, it's to remember who you are and get the fuck out. Which, I should have said that more in a more classy way, because I forget that we're talking about opera singers, which brings me to another point I wanted to talk about, which is these are opera singers. And I've said this a bunch of times before. Most symphonic metal singers out there aren't opera singers.
I know!
And I've been saying, Dianne is like the opera singer. Like Tarja was an opera singer. And maybe there are a couple more, but most symphonic metal singers aren't opera singers. Now you can hear two. Someone actually told me Tarja didn't have the classical education, like all the way. I actually don't know.
But I was very surprised by that too. I was convinced that Tarja was one of the singers in metal that actually are opera singers. I didn't properly fact check that.
When it comes to opera singers, it's like, there's a sound that opera music has. I don't even listen to opera music, but it's like, you can listen to most symphonic metal bands that are essentially pop music, and you can tell that it's not that. And this is the real deal.
There are also different opera singers.
So I'm pretty sure that Dianne and Elena aren't in the same category. I think I've heard Dianne describe herself as a spinto soprano. Or a dramatic soprano. Okay. If I had to put money on it, I would say Elena is not that. Okay, I definitely agree with the dramatic part. But that's the only part that I can comment on. This is where my knowledge ends.
Yeah, but the dramatic part isn't only in what vocal style she is and what classical education she has. It's also like her character.
Okay,
like she's a drama queen as much as she is a queen of tease.
Okay, one more thing that I wanted to touch on. There's that moment where like the child puts her hand on Dianne's like pebble at the neck.
Pebble. Call it a necklace.
Okay, necklace.
Have some class.
And then it turns blue. So it turns the same color as her outfit through this journey. You piece that together for me.
Well, blue, the first outfit, when it started after the storm, was her on stage with Sandria.
Okay.
Right? And then blue disappears through the fall, through Unleash the Siren and the Symphonic Tragedy. So that's my interpretation, like losing the persona of the singer and like the character. Essentially losing your music career if you want to make it more hands-on.
Your identity. Your identity.
Yeah. And then I think the rest of the album is rebuilding that or restoring it.
And this is the tipping point.
Well, you can look at many things as the tipping point, because the first element of blue actually shows up at the end of the Elder's Call.
Okay.
And then there's more blue that shows up in the Phantom of War. And when she gets up and her dress looks more like the After the Storm dress, it opens around the leg and it gets some more blue on it. And now it's like you're in this internal space where everything is white. So what happens there, I interpret, is internal. So that's where sort of, I don't know if you will, the soul or the identity of the person, whatever, is aiming towards blue again. A new day here begins. And then she walks out of the war, and it's like, the last song is gonna end in blue. I'm putting money on it.
I'm not putting money on it because I like my money and I'm not that invested.
I like money, and I'm sure I'll win. I'm betting on that.
Okay.
This goes all the way towards blue.
Are we gonna make it a bet like we did in the previous reaction?
Want to bet?
$8.
I'll give you $4.
$4.
$4.
Okay, but if I do it, I lose money.
Well, so you want me to bet and you not?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, we're not gonna do that.
I'm not gonna do that just out of principle.
Okay.
I'd rather give my money to Dianne. Are we done here?
No.
So if you enjoyed this reaction, we'd greatly appreciate the likes and shares. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe with bells on.
Thank you very much for stopping by. We hope you enjoyed your stay, and we'd love to see you back at the Windmill very soon.
Corpses out.